and
Okay. So here's my tip for social marketing.
Here
So
comes the
somebody
tip.
gonna say, "Oh, you guys talked about all this. I got a business. You didn't tell me anything I could do to make a social impact with my business and to get more exposure in the growth." So here it is.
I see you got a little bit of a tan. Have you been outside?
Yeah, I did get a tan. I was outside. Yeah, I was at the block party this weekend.
And what took you to the block party this weekend?
Oh, because the Soapbox was working with the Decatur Howard Saratoga Block Association to sponsor the different activities for the children at the block party. So, like the face painting, the popcorn, cotton candy, the bounce house thing, et cetera, et cetera. It was mad kids in that thing too. I thought it was going to tip over.
Fun.
Yeah, it was nice and it was good. Everybody was happy. It was a good connect to work with the Block Association, which is a block association that's around the corner from the Soapbox. And it's not, you can kind of say it's the block that I kind of grew up on because my grandparents had lived on that block many, many, many moons ago. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it was good. And they used to be my grandfather was the Block Association president at one point.
I'm not only a client, I'm the block president.
Exactly, president. So it was good to just kind of reconnect and just do good for the kids and just help out.
So thinking about this past weekend's block party got us thinking about social change. How can marketing help, right? Because we were able to leverage our position in the community to support the local activities and people who patronize the Soapbox. We wanted to talk to you today about how do you use social activities, social marketing for good, marketing that can help influence consumer behavior and at the same time promote social good. So you talked about your ties to the community, Grandpop having been the Block Association president and why that brings back good memories to you, but also the fact that many of the people on the block do use the Soapbox for their laundry and dry cleaning.
I don't want to say many. I don't think there's a whole lot of people on that block, but I think there's a fair amount, but I wouldn't say there's a whole lot off the top of my head. But that wasn't the goal either, to be like, oh, let's just sponsor it and get some, advertisement and get people to. That
was one of the goals. Let's not sleep.
I mean, it wasn't like, oh, let's just do it.
That wasn't the primary focus.
Right. Because when I had the discussion with the Block Association, former outgoing and incoming president, I was like, we'll do something for the kids.
Okay.
Like, what is connected to the kids for this, and then we'll take part in that. And that was the focus. What were we going to do that would benefit or help the kids on the block, or the children, I should say, who will be coming from neighboring blocks or got invited to participate in it. So it wasn't just about, let's do it to get more people to look at it.
Well, do you think that social marketing can deliver change for local communities such as ours?
It does. I wouldn't say, I think it does, whatever they consider social change. But I would say it was more of just looking at doing things like differently, and not even just doing it, just seeing an opportunity, like seeing something or opportunity, and then being like, what else can we do? So like, to give a little backstory, the president was contacting everyone who lived on a block to, I guess they have dues or whatever, I don't know, and was contacting everybody on the block to say, hey, dues, and the dues go towards the block party. So when he called me, I was just like, listen, what are you trying to do?
Right.
Like,
what's the end game?
Right. What's the end game? And they were like, oh, we were raising money for the block party. It's the 50th block party to do, X, Y, and Z for the kids, et cetera, et cetera. And I was like, so what's the goal? Like, what's the dollar amount you're trying to raise for that? And then, he mentioned, what the dollar amount is. And I was like, so what are you going to do with it? And they were like, the activities for the kids, the bounce castle, et cetera, et cetera. I was like, listen, let's do this, because I'm not personally I'm not gonna say I'm personally not going to do it, but for me personally, giving a few bucks for what they were asking, I think it was like $25 or $20 from each person on the block that like either you live there or you own a property on the block. So I was like, the $20 or $25 is going to make an impact, but what could really make a bigger impact to get you to the goal? And the thing was in like a week, I think, or 2 weeks from the time I spoke with them. And I was like, listen, the soapbox will sponsor this part of it for the children. And they were just like, cool. I was like, so this is what the goal is, or this is what you need to get dollar amount to get the stuff done for the children. Okay, we'll do that part. And then if in that part that we do, they started discussing, well, we could do some other things. Like we could put some flyers out. We could hang some flyers up. And I was like, cool. I was like, can we put signs up? He was like, yeah. So I was like, okay, we'll get the signs printed. And
hence social marketing.
Right. But it was kind of, it's about, I don't want to say it's like innovating because it's nothing new. It's just like thinking about looking at what the present opportunity is and then saying, what can you do with it? Or what can you do, within those parameters that you have for that opportunity.
Right.
So then it turned into, we ended up they have a big banner that they put up. They were like, oh, we'll put your name on the banner and logo. And I was just like, okay, cool. I'll take that. It's like front and center in the beginning of the block where traffic comes. Everybody has to see it when they can't come to the block and turn.
Mama Cope was so proud. She's like, I saw the banner. It looks good. It says the soapbox.
She was like, yeah, people are calling her and telling her whatever. So I was just like, okay, yeah, people are seeing it. If anybody saw it, she saw it. So I scored a few points with mom. And then, they said, oh, we'll put signs at each one of the stations that we sponsored. So like the bounce castle. So we had them printed up so they wouldn't have to spend any additional money and then put them out there with the stands and everything. And, it turned out well. So, yeah.
So how important is it for businesses and business owners to be involved in their surrounding communities?
For me, it's super important. Regardless of what my business was doing, our business happens to be, very connected to the community, both of them.
And both in the communities where we grew up.
Because we employ a good amount of people locally. So the majority of our payroll, like 95 to 90%, at one business, all the team members live local. And then at the other business, 100% of them live local. So it's super important to us. And then our client base at one of the businesses is all local because we only service a certain demographic, a certain geographic area at the soapbox. So it's hyper local for us, but not for long because we just entered into this new partnership that will allow us to do pickup and delivery on a vast scale.
To be continued.
Yes, stay tuned. So I think it's important not just to be in the community, to be a part of it, to help out, to give back in the community. And even if you don't get anything from it directly, the business, by doing it, like you might not get a whole bunch of new business. You might not get a whole bunch of people coming in. But at the end of the day, you're doing something good in the community that the business is in.
Right.
Because you want the community that your business is in to do well. Because the last thing you want it to do is the community go down.
Well, 2 points about being involved in your local community. We make it a point, as Waleed mentioned, to be involved in the communities where we live, where we grew up. And so I'm always a big proponent of taking care of home. We can't expect other people to come into our own communities and make the investments that it's going to take to make our communities sustainable, let alone for our communities to grow and to develop. And so if not me, then who? I was recently reading an article that talked about the brain drain. And I know that's something that we discuss in some of the local organizations I'm involved with here in the South Bronx, is how in many cases, the best and the brightest youth from the Bronx, they get educated, they become successful, and they leave. And so we don't replenish the talent that was here, and we don't recognize the talent that we have. And my financial advisor always told me, Jay, whatever you don't respect will leave you. So we want to show respect for the local infrastructure, local people, organizations, businesses, and pour into them, especially if we're taking away or benefiting from what's there. One of the other things is a few years ago, Waleed and I attended a meeting of potential franchisors for Chick-fil-A. And so I don't know if you're familiar with the franchise model or if you're even familiar with Chick-fil-A now. Eat more chicken. And you know the cows. Anyway, in many cases, when people talk about franchises, they're aware of McDonald's, the Golden Arches. You know, Subway is one of the really popular franchises as food when it comes to food, as well as 7-Eleven.
It's mad cheap to buy Subways, you know.
To get in.
Right.
The thing that really struck me about Chick-fil-A is that they wanted owner-operators who would be involved in the day-to-day affairs of the business. They wanted owner-operators who would be there. So not just someone who would be there in name or give their money and be a ghost owner. They wanted you to be involved.
Some of those franchise owners, if you watch The Founder with Ray Kroc, and them dudes was like out on the golf course, and then they had like all kind of craziness going on at their stores.
No, and then so in addition to wanting actively involved owner operators, they were looking for people who were involved in their local communities. So it's not just, okay, oh, you plan to open a store in Jersey? Yeah, we'll go to Jersey. Yeah. Nope, that's not your community.
Right. How involved are you going to be?
Right.
'Cause it makes a huge impact.
Right. And so when you look at their website, it says, we are seeking franchise candidates in a U.S., Puerto Rican candidate, Canada. Chick-fil-A's success is directly tied to the passion and drive that our franchisees bring to their local businesses. So even a large organization like Chick-fil-A realizes how important local social commitment is. And that struck me because I'm a graduate of the University of Georgia. And Chick-fil-A started in Georgia, and I was introduced to Chick-fil-A while I was in school there because my roommate would have Chick-fil-A chicken biscuits every day for breakfast. But they're little. But when I moved back to New York,
every day.
The UGA Alumni Association would have their annual alumni picnics, and the most local franchisee of Chick-fil-A, who in the time had a store in Bergen County in New Jersey, would bring Chick-fil-A sandwiches to the alumni in New York. And he would do other community-driven marketing events to show that the community meant a difference to him. Of course, that would lead to his getting more business and selling more sandwiches, eat more chicken. But at the same time, he was investing in his community, growing his community, creating jobs for the young people in that community. And so you don't have to be Chick-fil-A. You can be Jordan's Cupcakes. You can be Sydney Sweets. You can be ESC Cabling. You can be wherever you are, doing what you are, where you are. But if you choose to place your business in a certain place or locate your business in a certain place, it's important to make an impact on that place. And social marketing can allow you to do that.
I mean, to me, it's why not just do good and provide for the community you're in, and then they just become your advocates. Just because you're doing something good, you're doing the right thing, and then they become your ambassadors, you know, your advocates. They speak about the business. The word of mouth gets around of what you've done, the cause you're in. But again, I'll go back to what we said in other episodes. Don't just do it to look for something in return.
Right.
Like, obviously, if you have some business agreement with some organization, say, yeah, we're going to sponsor, and with that comes these type of advertising and naming rights. Like, get that. Like, that's for like nothing wrong with that. That's part of the sponsorship package. Like, done it several times, and we'll do it over and over again. But I'm talking about where you truly are just doing something kind of, I don't want to say underhanded, but you're kind of doing it with these false intentions of, like, we're doing good, but you're just doing it because you're hoping to get some hype or some promo later on. So it leads to you getting more business. More than likely, it's not. It might work in the short term, but
people will see through that.
It's going to blow up in the long term because it's just, you're not going to be genuine, not going to be super involved.
I'll say here in the Bronx, I'm involved with 3 organizations. That's where I dedicate a significant amount of time. One is the Business Initiative Corporation, where we lend money to businesses in New York State to help them grow. And I became affiliated with that organization because my dad was one of the founding board members, and he was instrumental in their annual fundraiser that brings in a good amount of the money that we use to market to local businesses to take advantage of this lending. And so it just made sense following in my dad's footsteps and understanding the challenges that businesses like ours have in getting access to capital. So why wouldn't I want to help others and be able to work locally? One of the things I love about Business Initiative Corporation of New York is it's basically under the umbrella of the Bronx Borough President's Office. And so we get to work hand in hand with the chief executive for the county in which our business is based. But we also get to work with the organization under his purview that does economic development in and throughout the Bronx. And so we get to get a sneak peek into what's coming down the pike, but we get to network with people and businesses in the community. So that's where I spend a lot of time, and I serve as the board secretary. More recently, I've become involved with Here to Here, which focuses on youth. And you sometimes hear me talk about the benefactors that invest in the work of Here to Here.
Right.
But the reason that they asked me to get involved is because I was a local business and they were looking for places where they could place interns for the youth that were looking for jobs. How many
times we got interns from them?
We had interns for 2 or 3 years,
right.
But then COVID came and we stopped. But I still nonetheless continue the work because...
So you went from getting interns to be involved in...
Well, even when we were getting interns, I was still involved on one.
But you're involved on a much higher level.
On a much higher level is now it's stepped up to being involved in panels, writing op-eds about the work that we're doing to promote to people outside of the Bronx. And I'm always astounded by the love I get from the people in the organization at Here to Here, because they're like, oh, Jess, like you show up. Right. And so being there, affiliating Johnson Security within the work that Here to Here does, even though they do great work on their own right, it supports them. It gives them more credibility because we are locally based. And so the next thing that we're doing with Here to Here is we're overseeing a grant from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation to help increase braided learning opportunities for young people in the Bronx and throughout New York City so that they can get improve their long-term job prospects. And then the third organization is the Thinkubator, which is born out of Here to Here, and I serve as the chair of the board of the Thinkubator. Again, we're working with Bronx youth.
Do you have time to run your businesses with all these organizations you're serving?
It's work. It's
exactly what I'm saying. Do you have time to run your own business after serving on all these organizations?
Well, you figure so.
So you were saying Thinkubator. Finish with that first.
The reason why it's important to me to be involved in the work of the Thinkubator is because our product is our people. And we cannot wait until people are full grown times 2 to try to invest in them and to try to develop them and to try to equip them with the skills and experiences that they'll need to run businesses like ours, to create businesses like ours, or even to work for businesses like ours, right? And so that's why I'm involved with the work of the Thinkubator. And we'll sign on to help promote the work that they do. We'll publicize them to other organizations. We'll help find funding for them, all in the vein of social marketing. And so with a lot of the work, yes, I have to show up for meetings, but the staff will do the heavy lifting. And in the marketing piece, that's where we can bring the greatest support. So you don't have to cut out large portions of your schedule and take away from your business to have social impact through your social marketing in your local community. You can work with organizations that are doing work in areas that you're interested in, that are making an impact where you're located, and at the same time bring positive public relations to your business and make a difference.
Yeah. Well, I kind of see it from 2 aspects.
Okay, great.
You know, you're working, whether you're running a business, you're working, whatever you're doing, you want to be involved to make some kind of change. I think there's 2 ways, right? You either give up your time and you invest time to help these organizations, these causes grow, or you give money. And those, I look at it those 2 ways. It's either A or B, because you can only give so much of your time.
That's true.
But if you put yourself in a position where you can give some time and then you can give some money, you're able to have even more impact and, affect even more change. Because I might not be able to give up. Listen, I went for 15 minutes, but the business, we were able to give the money that impacted the event for the whole day. So the sponsorship, the donation that was made had those activities last all day.
I'll just add 2 quick points. When you stay plugged into your community leaders, your elected officials, and the different organizations, that will help you see where you can make the greatest impact. And then I'll add, you can use your different marketing platforms. So whether you're doing a print advertising or on the TV or online campaign, you can mention the organizations that you work with to give them support and add social marketing cred. You can also look at social media. We put in the notes political. That's a whole nother level of discussion, so I'll save that for a different conversation. But like Kobe said, you can commit time, you can commit money.
Or you mentioned social. If you have, depending on what your platform is on social, what your reach is, and it could be small or large. You can have 200 people, you can have 20,000 people. You can still spread and have impact amongst that group that you connect with on social with the information you want to share. Like, so you have 200 people who are connected to you on whatever social platform, and you interact with, I don't know, let's say 50 or 70 or maybe 100, maybe all 200 of them on a regular basis. You share some information about some event or some cause that you're backing, you believe in, that you're part of. That's a huge impact.
Right.
Shout out to MS Warrior, right? Every time she gets an order, she will post something in her stories or her feed. I don't care if she has 100,000 people connected to her on Instagram or she has 1. The fact that she chooses to share what we've done for her, and let's be clear, it's not like she's ordered the service and paid for it, and then she chooses to share it. The impact she has had on our local business, she lives in the neighborhood, our business is in the same neighborhood, has had an impact to the community that is connected to her. And people who are connected to her know who she is. They know the type of person she is. And they know she's very real and down to earth. So if she's saying, oh, look, this is something that I use or something, a brand that I trust, it speaks volumes. I don't care if only 2 people who are connected to her on social at that moment see it and they're like, the box. Maybe I should look into that the next time I need X done. Right. So people don't realize the impact they can have on a small business or even a large business, right? Positive or negative. So we really need to think about, how we get involved and how we use the different platforms or different mediums, whether it's our time, it's money, spreading it to our community that we're connected to make an impact. Here in New York City, there's these things called community boards. And I'm sure there's some form or fashion of them in other places, in other counties, other states, wherever. They have these things called community boards here in New York City. And a community board is a board, right? A group of people who are elected by that particular community.
Or appointed.
Sorry. Actually, I don't think they aren't elected.
Not elected. They're appointed or they volunteer.
They're all volunteers and they're appointed by different
elected officials
in the community.
Yeah.
Thank you. So they sit on this board and they make decisions and follow the policies and regulations that impact that community.
You used to be on the community board.
I did. I was on the community board for like 8 years. So I say that to say, find out what the equivalent is the community board in your area, where you live and where your business is, right? And if you don't live where your business is, you got an opportunity to 2X what I'm telling you. You get to double dip here. In New York City, the community boards have public meetings once a month. And anybody can go and sit there and listen to what the community board is talking about. A lot of business come to the community board, not a lot, but businesses come because they have to present certain things to the community board to get approval, like liquor license for establishments,
Letters of support.
For
economic development, housing,
real estate development, zoning changes or things of that nature, right? So they come to present all these different things. So now you get this plethora of information. You can sit there. There's also a part in the community board meeting where they have the open announcement period where people from the community get to grab the mic and just make an announcement for anything they want.
Basically freestyle.
Exactly. They could talk about their business or events that are going on, things they want to make people aware of. I would listen, and now it's probably even easier to do it because of the pandemic. A lot of community boards have put their meetings online. They're streaming them. So I would listen. I would go online, whatever it is your community board is doing or equivalent, and listen to all the things that are going on, especially when people go to the open mic part, the announcements, and see what kind of events and things are going on. And then I would look at those events or organizations that make the announcements that resonate with you and your business. And then I would reach out to them and say, how can I or my business get involved in helping you make XYZ successful? And just keep doing that over and over. Maybe your business.
Wait, and then you got to execute.
Wait, that's what I was going to say. So maybe your business, you have a restaurant or a cafe and they're having an event. You say, hey, why don't you give me 300 flyers and I'll put a flyer in every bag that we send out with orders for takeout or, delivery, etc. I'll put one of your flyers in every bag. No charge. I'll just do it because what you're doing, I think is good. Or we have an email list of 10,000 customers that use our business. And I'll include you in our next email that we send out to talk about your event or your particular program or your cause or your fundraiser, et cetera, et cetera. I would do that over and over and over and then get known with those organizations and different people in the community and build a lasting relationship, because sooner or later, you doing that is going to build enough credits in your column where those organization people are going to look back and say, how can we help you now? Right. Or they're just going to say, yeah, so-and-so has been involved with us. They helped us do this and it was great. And now they mention it to 10 more people or 5 more people. And then you become this person who's eliciting or helping make change with these different organizations or people or event in your community or the community your business is in. And you get known for doing these good things and helping out. And in turn, it has a good reflection on your business and hopefully helps your business grow. And it's not hopefully, it will, as long as you're doing it for the right reasons and involved with the right causes. That's what I got for you.
That's the action plan. That's the action plan on how to use social marketing to not only grow your business and its profitability, but to have a positive impact on the community where you live, work, serve.
Last week, my account blew up. There are 11 people who sent me notifications about being
guests on the
comments.
We are getting back to you in the next week. We're coming. We're coming for you.
We're working on the We're working on the video streaming.
The infrastructure. The technology infrastructure too.
So we can do them high quality over the internet versus having to be in person due to our lovely pandemic. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Tell your mama, tell your auntie, tell your granny, and send them in the conversation chill. And in closing, I'm Jessica Johnson. Waleed.
We'll see you soon.